Welcome to episode number 14 of Colorado TechCast.
It's a network that's going to transform the world, and there's no doubt that the idea of transforming ownership so everybody has access to everything without having to own it, that will naturally happen. It's a question of when and who does it. I think we're on the right path to do it, but it's going to take a lot of passionate, driven people like us to get us there. And so the more people that are helping us get there, the quicker we'll get there.
Hey guys, Trapper here. So if you're like me, you've got a bunch of stuff sitting around the house. Whether it's a tool that you used once on a house project, a rototiller that you break out once a year during spring, or a second or third vehicle that you don't really use except when you need to move something. These are all things that we've purchased that just sit there. They're assets, but they're adding no value to our lives. What if there was a way to easily generate income off of those assets? Conversely, if you need an 18-foot ladder to change a light bulb or hang Christmas decorations, it doesn't make any sense to buy one, and rental shops are hit or miss whether they have what you need in stock when you need it. But what if there was a way to easily find those things in your neighborhood? My guest on today's show has figured out how to solve for that problem. James Eberhard is the CEO of Fluid Market. Through Fluid Market, people are making money renting out vehicles that otherwise would just sit there. And it's not just pickup trucks and moving vans that they have on their site. I was on there the other day, and they had a new Tesla Model X and a Bentley that you could rent out by the day or by the hour at prices that really rival luxury rental places. Using Fluid Market, you can put up practically anything for rent by the day, by the hour, by the month, and generate real income. Now everything's insured, everything is on the up and up, and another cool thing about it is the buyers and the sellers rate each other, similar to Uber. So you have this intrinsic trust built into the network. But Fluid Market isn't James's first business with a truly disruptive business model. He talks about opening up his own video game rental business in elementary school, and then later on, figuring out how to sell ringtones to cell phones wirelessly, which netted the company hundreds of thousands of dollars each month, and cutting deals with major record labels so you could have the newest song as your ringtone. James defines what it is to be a hustler in the truest sense. Now let's get started. James, how are you doing today?
Hey, Trapper. Great to be here. I'm doing wonderful.
Good deal. James, you're currently working on Fluid Market, but this isn't your first go-round at startups, is it?
Yeah, over the course of my life, I've participated in starting up 12 different companies, mostly at the ground up and putting together with a couple different people to really kind of found some transformative movements, do some big things.
So have you always been an entrepreneur? If you've started 12 startups, it's got to be something you've got a passion for, right?
Yeah, I just love building, and it comes from an early age. It's kind of crazy. Probably the very first kind of like entrepreneurial activity I've ever done really kind of comes full circle to Fluid Market, because in second grade I started a video game rental business in elementary school, where I was renting out video games. This is before the days of Blockbuster, where I'd rent out video games for $2 a day to classmates, and it was my kind of first entrepreneurial experience. And there, I got into a little bit of trouble because other parents thought I was taking advantage of their kids. But ultimately, it was kind of the first entree into what, and kind of comes full circle to what I'm doing here today with Fluid Market.
So you're trading people's lunch money for Pong, right? Maybe it wasn't Pong, maybe it was exactly. Super Mario Brothers.
It was Zelda and Super Mario Brothers, and all those original NES games.
Yep, I grew up on those as well. So if I was here, maybe I would have given you my lunch money for Zelda.
Well, it's a lot better model on those games. So you play it till you beat it, and then it sits around. So it might as well be utilized by somebody else.
Yeah. So after pimping video games to elementary school kids, what did you do next?
Well, after I graduated high school, I'd always been kind of on the entrepreneurial side from a very early age. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Went to school at CSU, and I grew up in Broomfield, Colorado. But from there, I started up a business at school selling software, initially just to people in the dorms, and kind of expanded that out and started up into a business where I was buying software from returned merchandise that would go to Walmart and taken to small mom and pop retailers in Fort Collins. And it started up, just a bunch of different. I was always really interested in business models and building all kinds of different things, and really just love creating. It kind of took me to a place where I made some money off that business, left school. I started day trading, lost all my money, and then had to go get a job. And I went to go work back for VoiceStream, which is now T-Mobile. I worked there for a year. They cut our commissions, and I'd done pretty well. I was number 3 in sales for VoiceStream, doing cell phone sales just out of a retail store. They cut our commissions, and then as soon as they did that, I said, okay, great, I'll start my own business. I started a company called Applied Wireless, where I was selling phones and accessories online. And that business was small. It was just really me doing it. But it's really where I kind of started looking at like, wow, the logistical hassle, buying goods, storing inventory, and then shipping it online. And it was kind of that first kind of awakening to like, wow, there's being a online retailer, storing inventory was tough, and shipping goods. And I was like, how can I figure out something that I can sell 1 million times, have an infinite inventory, and do the same level of work, whether I sell 1 or whether I sell 1 million, which is really where I got into my first real scalable big startup, which was a company called 9 Squared. Started in 2001 and ended up selling it in 2004.
You guys were a vendor of mine when I worked for Altel Communications back in early 2000s. I remember very, very prominently because you guys were selling more ringtones than any other product that we had on our platform. So tell me a little bit about, ringtones and how you got started with that model.
Yeah, I mean, it actually started when I was working at VoiceStream, and I would download and distribute ringtones to people at the store. Like someone would walk in, I'd upload the ringtone just by plugging a cable into their phone. Started looking at it, back in monophonic days where it was just a series of beeps that you'd hear as your ringtone would make up a compilation. And I figured out how to really take it to the next step, which was not having that cable there, which gave me ultimate scale. And the first kind of product I started selling from my Applied Wireless, it was appliedwireless.net website where you could go buy a ringtone. And I would manually be behind the computer sending you this ringtone across the wireless network. I'd be out all day and then be shipping ringtones digitally by hand at night as soon as I got home, which is a far cry from where we were at with you guys at Altel. I just really saw a great opportunity there, and I love that if I could just set up a system to process, you buy the ringtone, it would deliver, hit your handset, and we'd make $2 every time someone bought a ringtone. And so it was great. I said, okay, I saw the opportunity there. I shut down the phone company, and out was a 9 Squared. And, our kind of first things were, getting ringtones out there. We're trying to get deals done with music publishers and hammer through Sony and Warner and those guys back in the day. And we'd say, hey, we want to get a license for ringtones. They said, what are you talking about, ringtone? Who's going to ever want a bunch of beeps on their phone? It doesn't sound good. It's horrible. They wouldn't give us the time of day. And so we just started pushing them and selling them. And eventually it started to be big enough that they would hit us back and give us cease and desist orders to stop selling it. And we said, great, we have a check here for you. Happy to pay you. Sign this license.
Now that we've got your attention.
Exactly. Sign this licensing agreement, and we got money we've been holding back for your mechanical rights. And that's what really gave birth to the very first ringtone contracts that I believe they're still in existence off that initial papers that we helped set up back in the day.
So all the ringtones that you got from the factory, they were just basic beeps, right? But you were selling polyphonic ringtones that were actually MP3 quality, 30-second clips of songs, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first ones we were I hand make them with some musical software. And then as we started getting further, and that was back in the monophonics where it was just a single tone beep. And then I found a company overseas, the name of it was like Mr. Musico, that we started manufacturing with musicians in the Philippines. And so we produce all of our own content, and then use the mechanical rights from artists to produce them and sell them. We eventually progressed to the master tracks where you had the 30-second clip of the actual song, and that's really when the business started to explode.
I remember every time a new CD would drop, I would come in the next morning and there it was on the 9 Squared site for us to sell. You guys must have really had strong partnerships with the record labels, which is interesting because they just got done, getting their teeth kicked in with iTunes and Napster, right? They didn't want to sell music anywhere other than in the stores, and now all of a sudden it's on iTunes and it's on your phone as ringtone, so I'm sure you caught them off guard.
We were one of the first models. Because it was back in the Napster days, and so at the kind of tail end of Napster, and all the BitTorrent file sharing services where you could go download whatever. But we were the first real monetizable digital channel for record labels. And really until that point, when we got going, I mean, iTunes wasn't in business yet. It's still ahead of the iPhone by a couple of years, or I guess by about 4 or 5 years. And so it was something that we started generating the first real revenue for the music industry. So it was pretty exciting to see that come together. I mean, I started the business and it went from zero to, when I left, we were doing about $10 million a month in revenue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. So after you left 9 Squared, what was your next venture?
So after, I kind of had this soft spot, this kind of bad feeling in my heart of, with ringtones I was selling, the average ringtone was selling for $3, and it was 1/6 the content. And here I am selling ringtones for 3 times the price you pay on iTunes for 1/6 the content, to little kids. And I'm like, I've got to do something that I feel like is giving back to society. And so I started looking at what things can be done to really help drive the billing systems of the mobile operators with what's happening in society and try to build really efficient reward systems, which kind of led the way for Mobile Accord, which, the whole concept behind Mobile Accord was you have all these charities and organizations that raise tens, hundreds of billions of dollars every year. And typically the small organizations that do great work aren't big enough to really fundraise effectively. And so if we could give them a way for an organization that does good work to get media attention, to be able to monetize that media attention really efficiently. And we created the idea of a text message donation, being able to bill back through your cell phone, similar to how we'd sell ringtones, and bill back to the carrier's bill. So you could see a good project that was out there and then be able to donate instantaneously with it instead of having to raise $1 million, have 10 people write a check for $100,000 a piece. You have 100,000 people all give $10 a shot. Really democratize giving to charities. And so I set off on that path in 2005, 2006, and effectively we got it going up. We got the industry organized, put together in 2008. Took a lot longer than I expected, but and effectively gave way to like what you saw with text Haiti to 9099 to give $10. And subsequently, we'd raised hundreds of millions of dollars for charities, all through $5 and $10 text donations.
That's really cool. Is that something that's still up and running now?
Yeah, you see text donation ads still all over the place. Whether you're watching NFL or it's still something that's out there living and connecting people with a really easy way to give to charity.
What's going on with Mobile Accord now? Are you still in that, or is it? Have you moved on?
I've moved on from the company. I mean, it's still out there. I mean, the business now, a lot of it is the MGive side of the business, which is the text donations, has moved on by itself. But the core business kind of started focusing on other challenges, which is data in the developing world. The product which is called Geopol, which if you're in the States, you don't really know about it, but if you're in Africa, Asia, in places where it's hard to understand what's happening, it collects data and helps drive understanding of what's happening in countries, in the developing world. So it's something, kind of going to this idea of we can help organizations raise money and we can help them understand what's happening in the developing world. We can make better decisions, help drive economic development and scalability in developing countries all around the world. And so that's, Mobile Accord or the Geopol business is, still out there cranking, doing great work, led by Nick Becker, who was my CTO at 9 Squared and at Mobile Accord. He's a great guy, doing a wonderful job running that company.
Okay. So you've redeemed yourself, right, so to speak, for selling kids ringback tones and their parents open their cell phone bill wondering what the hell this $300 bill is.
I'm working on it. So someday I'll be able to feel good about the connection there. No, I love what the digital age is, the digital content age, and how that all transpires through the phone. I mean, it's exciting because it gives a way through like a lot of what's happening in technology today, off of integrating the little computer in your pocket with a billing system, and the fact that it's with you every second of every day, becomes a really powerful platform for whatever you're doing.
Mobile is definitely taking over the world. A decade ago, if I would have left my phone at home, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. Now I'm going to turn around and go back and get it because so much of what I do, whether it's work, personal, or hobbies, is stored on the phone. It's become an extension of myself. And to your point, that's a really powerful platform. So tell me about your plan to be the Airbnb of vehicles.
Sure. The first kind of step into all this is that you've got to start from somewhere where you're starting movements and revolutions. You can't just jump in with everything. And so, our first step is around the biggest tool that you'll ever need is a pickup truck. And we've created a way for people to rent pickup trucks through the application. So you can download the FoodMark application and rent out your neighbor's pickup truck. We provide insurance on it, and it becomes this community asset where, the average pickup truck on the platform generates about $500 a month, meaning that you can buy a 10-year-old pickup truck for $4 or $5 and it will generate $6,000 a year for you. Amazing, in terms of returns, but it's also amazing what it contributes back to your local neighborhood. And really our kind of focus here, like the first phase of Fluid, is to create a network, across the U.S., across the planet of utility vehicles. So you'll never need to go to a U-Haul ever again to wait in line to use a pickup truck for a day and pay outrageous prices when you have, pickup trucks that are just sitting around your neighborhood that are a lot closer, a lot more cost effective, and a lot easier for you to use.
I've rented a truck from U-Haul just a few times because I need something bigger to haul something with. And the experience is always so terrible. And they're never in a great part of town, right? The U-Hauls are never in an area that's conducive to do anything else other than getting there and getting out as fast as you can. The experience is terrible. You just get what you get. You don't have a whole lot of control over what it is. The contracts are definitely written in the favor of U-Haul. So yeah, I think similar to what Uber did for taxi services, right? Taxis were never something that were easy to get a hold of, or when you did, it was never a great experience. And Uber came in and solved a lot of those problems. So it sounds like you guys are solving similar problems at Fluid Market with vehicles, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something where the experience on there is pretty amazing. You can go and book a truck in your neighborhood. You go pick it up by yourself. The application has a pickup inspection mechanism where you go walk around the vehicle, take pictures of any damage. It has a lockbox that'll be attached to the vehicle. You open up the lockbox, the app will give you the code, and then you hop in the car, you take pictures of the fuel and the mileage, and off you go. You bring it back, and so you can book it out if you need it for a couple hours or if you need it for a week or a month. You're able to book all that stuff out through the application. It takes minutes to go grab a pickup truck and away you go, instead of a U-Haul experience where you're waiting in line, filling out archaic paperwork, and driving, across town where you're passing tons of underutilized pickup trucks on the way to the U-Haul station. And it's something that it's pretty incredible. Like from an end user, if you need a pickup truck, it opens up a whole world. The other side is that you have people that are building businesses. We've got people that started out with one cargo van last summer. In the first 3 months, they paid off that cargo van and started building more and more, and now have, small kind of fleets of vehicles they rent out and are making, 10, 15, even over $20,000 a month renting out pickup trucks. And they can really do it efficiently and effectively, and the app manages it out.
So you're no stranger to starting businesses. Do you have a technical aptitude to, build these applications, or tell me about the team that you've got with you now?
Sure. I'm a chemical engineer. I know a little bit on the programming side, but I'm definitely not a coder. The team we have are, smart, talented engineers and teams of people that believe in kind of what we're doing, like what the transformative nature of what we're doing is. Working tirelessly to help kind of educate and create a new world where you don't have to own stuff. It's, mainly the makeup at this kind of staging level is really on the engineering side and building out great technology, great products, and great experiences for people to build businesses on top of.
How long have you guys been around?
So we launched June of 2016. So we're about 18 months in. So we launched in Denver, and now we're starting to open up the platform outside Colorado. But still, we look at the transactions. We've got thousands of transactions that are being done right here in Denver and across the state, for that matter.
What are your growth strategies? When you're trying to scale an application like this, The key to success, I mean, obviously you're doing well now, but the key to that hockey stick growth that everybody likes to see is massive adoption. Do you guys have any marketing plans that you could share with us?
Sure. I mean, a lot of what we're doing right now is just kind of exposing people out to the business cases and helping people build businesses and build financial independence, off our platform. It's crazy that you can go out there and set up a side business, and we see it where, people set up and they take their existing pickup truck and they start with that, start making $500 a month. They add on and buy a couple more vehicles for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Before you know it, they start having a recurring revenue stream that's a couple $1,000s a month that's rivaling their day job. So as we kind of look at it, we're really educating about how they build a business. And I encourage you, for your listeners to go to fluidmarket.com and check out. I mean, we provide a lot of case studies of how easy it is to start turning your assets into monetizable income.
I think that's really cool. It's just taking lazy assets that are just sitting there, right? Putting them to work for you.
Yeah.
Making something out of a product that would just otherwise sit there.
But no, it's like, Trevor, when you open up your garage, I mean, you see all kinds of stuff that just sits there and you never think about monetizing. And it's kind of like if you had a spare house that was just sitting there, you would absolutely rent it out. It's too big of an asset. You'd rent it out to somebody and generate some passive income off that house. And it's the same thing with whether you have a pickup truck, cargo van, or you're looking at making an investment into passive income streams. I bought a house here in the Highlands as an investment property, and that house cost $300,000 to buy, and you end up putting $60,000-$70,000 down the house. And it turns out roughly about $500 a month in free cash. You can go out and buy a $5,000 pickup truck and turn out the same returns every month as I do with that rental property. And it's kind of looking at those kind of mechanisms. There's so much that can be produced off this platform, and the fundamentals of it is it also provides an invaluable service to everybody that's living around you, everybody that's within your community. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to have a safe and trusted network. So, I mean, security insurance was a challenge, and it's something we were able to get done. So everybody that puts up their vehicle on Fluid, their vehicle's insured through our policy. So getting that underwritten was a challenge, and we had to go through a lot of different insurance providers and track down and target a lot of different providers before we were able to really lock down a policy that ensured trust and safety across the network. I think, the other thing is, something that, you kind of take for granted, but like looking at like what Uber's done in whenever you need a taxi or a ride. I mean, if you compare the experience inside an Uber versus the experience inside a normal taxi, it's completely different for the driver and for the rider. You rate the person after the trip. The driver rates the rider rates the driver. In that, it creates an ecosystem where people are incentivized to behave, to be good, to be much better, and you never have a bad driver or a horrible experience in an Uber versus what you have in a normal taxi, because there is that accountability. And it's the same thing we've designed Fluid, so you rate the person, you rate the item, and you rate the borrower. And it creates an incentive system where people take care of other people's assets, and it creates this trust network that is pretty profound. I always say that someone's watching you, or you're accountable for what's happening. You're going to take care of people's stuff a lot better than you take care of your own. And we see that every day. That we've got a great network of tens of thousands of people here in Colorado that are using this, and are in a safe and trusted place. So it's really cool to see the formation of what that kind of community can do. And, we've seen it through Airbnb, we've seen it through Uber, and we see it in Fluid, and it's amazing to see it come together.
So are you guys hiring?
I mean, we're always looking for talent. And so, if you're interested in what we're doing, I mean, we're always looking for talent, whether that is internally with us or for partners that want to work with us to create a whole new ecosystem of decentralized ownership. And so, I encourage you to check out fluidmarket.com. We have a career section on there. If you're interested in joining us in the team or interested in working with us, please come hit us up. We'd love to continue to expand our network and continue to expand the base of people that are in and around us. It's a network that's going to transform the world. And there's no doubt that the idea of transforming ownership so everybody has access to everything without having to own it, that will naturally happen. It's a question of, when and who does it. And I think we're on the right path to do it, but it's going to take a lot of passionate, driven people like us to get us there. And so the more people that are helping us get there, the quicker we'll get there.
Yeah. Sounds like you're well on your way to achieving that mission. So look forward to hearing good things in the future.
Well, thank you. No, and I think we will. I mean, we're seeing it every day, and we're seeing the tipping point starting to really form. I mean, we're still early on, but it's exciting to see where we're at today. Because, I kind of look at 10 years ago, you'd never hopped in a person off the street. You'd never hopped in the back of their car that you didn't know. And today, you don't think twice about it. And I think, the same thing. In 5 years from now, you'll never think twice about, you walk out of your house and say, hey, I need a pickup truck because I'm going to Home Depot. Or I'm going to the mountains, I'm going skiing, I need a big car. Or I need a fuel-efficient car because I'm driving up to Boulder and by myself. And you kind of look around, and all the assets that are out there in the community are all yours to be used and be shared across the community so you can do the right job for the right time and have access to what you need to get it done.
So how can people get started using Fluid Market?
So go to the App Store or the Google Play Store, download Fluid Market, and take a picture of a pickup truck, cargo van, vehicle that you're not using, and put it out there to be used by your community.
Can I put my neighbor's vehicle in there?
You need to own it yourself. But you take a couple of good pictures, you write a description. We have a team that will help give you feedback, and you'll start providing a tool and asset to the community that will be greatly beneficial to your neighbors at the same time. And you'll start making a bunch of side cash with very little work. I mean, it takes, to manage one vehicle on the platform, it takes under 10 minutes a week. And, off that, 40 minutes a month to make $500, it's a great thing to drive your assets to perform and build for you.
James, I think you guys have a great product. I think you've definitely got the market cornered in putting vehicles to work and just making passive income. So I'm sure you guys will find great success in the near future. Awesome.
Hey, Trapper, it's been great to be on. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And keep an eye out. Check out fluidmarket.com or download Fluid Market from the App Store.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Colorado TechCast. To hear more episodes of this program, visit our website at coloradotechcast.com. There you'll find everything you need to know to subscribe to the show. We're also on Twitter at COTechcast and love hearing your comments, so keep them coming. I'm Trapper Little, and I'll talk with you soon on the next episode of Colorado TechCast.